Welcome to Licks of the Beast. I'm Nico Falco, and today we're going to take a closer look at Dave Murray's magnificent guitar solo from Iron Maiden's The Reincarnation of Benjamin Breeg. And if you're wondering who the hell Benjamin Breeg is and what is the deal with his reincarnation, Benjamin Breeg was a lonely man who lost his parents in a fire when he was still a child, sometime in the 1940s. As an adult, he became an artist who painted disturbing nightmares until his mysterious disappearance in 1978, and he was never found. That's because he never really existed, but back in 2006, Iron Maiden created an actual website about Benjamin Breeg as a way to introduce the first single from their upcoming album, A Matter of Life and Death. It was a bit silly, but kind of cool in a campy way. It was set up like it was Benjamin Breeg's cousin searching for answers about who he was and the reasons for his disappearance. He even shared a photo of one of Breeg's mysterious paintings that he'd found. In what world does everyone not know that that's Eddie? The really great thing about this solo is the way Dave connects these different licks and motifs so smoothly across the fretboard, first ascending gradually as it builds, and then descending as it gets closer to the climax. Which is not really a common thing to do. In fact, many solos tend to just ascend and get to progressively higher notes until they hit their high spot at the end. But on Benjamin Breeg, Dave is just giving a masterclass on fluidity and on how to keep a solo interesting by unexpectedly changing directions and adding a little aura of mystery to the phrases and how they connect. So now I'm going to take you through the solo section by section, and I'll explain how each one works musically and what is its specific role or function in the context of the solo. I've also made a step-by-step tutorial with tabs and backing tracks available to members of my Patreon at patreon.com/licksofthebeast. That's where you can find tutorials to riffs like Genghis Khan and Rainmaker, exercises to improve your technique, tabs, and so much more. So real quick, let me just show you the chords that he's playing over so that you have an idea for the context of all the licks that we're going to look at as we go along. And it's honestly very straightforward, but it is a very functional canvas for a guitar solo. So it goes like this. It's a 4-bar pattern, and for the first 2 bars, they're just chugging on E. Then they let a C chord ring out for 1 bar, and the last bar is F sharp to G the first time around, and F sharp to D the second time. Play all of that twice, and then it's back to the riff, leading to the final chorus. But the reason I say this is a functional canvas is that it allows Dave to play freely over the first 2 bars of the pattern, and then the next 2 bars give him a landing point for his phrases. So you get like a solo with these free-flowing lines that always conclude melodically before picking up again and heading in a different direction. This stuff matters a lot more than people think. Okay, so now let's get to Dave's solo. So the coolest thing for me is the fact that he starts off after the first bar. So he starts by just letting it ride, and that alone builds up so much anticipation. And when he does come in, it's like the most laid-back thing, almost as if in mid-thought. So the last note of the first phrase, the C, lands on the C chord. And then he completes that thought with the next phrase that lands on the A over the F sharp chord, and then he doubles down on it over the G chord. That phrase almost sounds redundant by itself without the accompaniment. But that's why I'm always stressing the importance of knowing the context of these solos, because over the F sharp chord, That A acts as the minor third, so it sounds a little melancholic. But over the G, it's now the ninth. And because it's a power chord with no third, it acts as a suspension, which for just a second makes it feel kind of airy and dreamy. And really, this isn't at all about music theory. I'm just telling you this because it's important for a soloist to understand the effect that different intervals have over the chords so that they can play things that make the listener feel the mood that they want to create. Just a quick word to let you know that this video is sponsored by me. More specifically, by my Adrian Smith guitar course entitled The H Factor. If you can play the notes to Adrian solos, but they still don't sound right, that's exactly what I address in this course. It's my answer to the question that I keep getting here and in private lessons. How do you get your tone to sound so similar? Well, there are 25 lessons in total, and I cover things like picking and muting, the scales he actually uses, signature phrases, vibrato, pinch harmonics, and more. Tabs and backing tracks are included throughout, and it ends with a full solo in the style of Adrian Smith, so you're learning to speak Adrian's musical language instead of just collecting licks. All this for just $49 or 4 payments of $12.25, and there's a 10-day money-back guarantee. This is the course that I wish someone had made back when I was learning all this stuff. Go to licksofthebeast.com/courses or click the link in the description. So he continues from there like this. So let's break that down. So he's starting off with the first of a couple of really cool speed bursts, and he ties that into a fluid, slinky minor blues lick with pull-offs, hammer-ons, and slides. And then he lands on this G over the C chord. And then, just like he did in the first part, he goes back to the G, this time over a D chord. So that G acts as the fifth over the C chord, and then it's the fourth over the D power chord. So once again, we have a suspension for just a second, but it's enough to make the lick feel like it's not going towards anything. So it's as if he's just floating around in this musical space, and just as soon as it starts to feel like he's heading in a particular direction, whenever he lands on one of those solid chord tones like the root or the fifth, he pulls away and it goes back to that floating feeling. The next part starts to feel like there is a sense of direction and purpose. The repeating bend that he plays at the end of that lick is from C to D. So that's the fifth over the G chord, and that creates a sense of anticipation because your ear wants this. So it serves as a pivot for the next phrase that signals the beginning of the end. The fourth and last section sounds a little bit more melancholic, and because he's now landing each line on stable intervals, like thirds and a root, it gives a sense of completion, and it feels like we've reached the end of the solo. That last phrase is so awesome because if you listen to it superficially, it just sounds like a cool Dave Murray legato flurry. But if you listen a little more carefully, there's a really nice symmetry to it. And that's another really cool thing, right? That nice rolling motion when he descends smoothly to F sharp, and then he goes immediately back up to A with two fluid hammer-ons. And listen to that vibrato at the end. It's like a B.B. King-esque vibrato on that last note as it rings out over the main riff. This song actually has so many great guitar parts. The hauntingly beautiful intro, the killer main riff, the chorus riff, the interlude riffs. It's basically a Dave Murray feast. And it's the kind of song that keeps me wishing that a Dave Murray solo album will someday see the light.